Am I the a-hole for expecting a girl to get off a treadmill in the gym? Okay, pause. A lot of people have this issue in real life where someone takes too long on a machine, like a treadmill, weights, whatever. But let's hear her out because sometimes they're in the right, sometimes they're in the wrong. The gym I go to doesn't have a lot of treadmills, and I've recently started running. I went to the gym with my partner last night, and all of the treadmills were in use. I used some weight machines to start, then went back to the treadmills. I noticed there was a girl just sat on the treadmill while her friend was using the treadmill next to her. Okay, well if you're not using the treadmill, why are you sitting on the treadmill, right? There's no point of you being on the treadmill just because your friend is running and you're not. Okay. She'd been there for at least 15 minutes, not using it, so I went up and asked if she was planning to use it. She said she was with her friend, but I just said she can sit next to her friend's machine instead of taking up machines from people who want to use them, which is fair. You were nice, you were um polite, you weren't being rude to her. So I don't see why she was kind of giving you pushback. She shrugged her shoulders and refused to move. A woman comes over and asks what's happening, so I explain it. She said that she's the girl's mother and that I shouldn't be telling her daughter to move. Okay, but why is your daughter there not using the treadmill? If she wants to be with her friend, she could at least walk on the treadmill or run with her friend. But I feel like the mom is also very much babying her child, like in the wrong. You know what I mean? Okay. I just said her daughter shouldn't be taking up machines she has no intention of using. Fair. Polite. Again, very polite. She said her daughter is feeling to sit there if she wants and that she's doing nothing wrong. She is. She's taking up space when she shouldn't be taking up space. I just said I can see where her daughter gets her entitlement from. Okay, T. Love that. Love that for you. She said I was out of order for commenting on her parent, but I just said she should be a better parent if she can't handle any criticism. Okay. I love how you weren't like rude. I like how you were very polite. I like how you were putting her in her place, the mom. As I said, in a polite way. But this is in a respectful way. This is just so hilarious to me. A member of the staff came over and when I explained why was going on, asked the daughter to move off the treadmill or leave the gym. See, yeah, if you get an employee involved, if the person isn't using the machine, they're going to ask them to get off the machine. That is actually a thing, and they can do that. My girlfriend said maybe I shouldn't have argued with the mother, but I don't see how I've done anything wrong. You didn't. Am I the a-hole for asking a girl to get off a treadmill in the gym then arguing with her mother? No. I definitely think you weren't in the wrong. I think you were very respectful, polite. You weren't rude. You put the mom in her place. And I think it's a good example to set that if they're not using the gym, they have to get off. Because what's the point of you hovering over the machine when you're not even going to use it and someone else will? But yeah, that is my take on this, not the a-hole. Next Reddit post. Am I the a-hole for letting him eat what he cooked? Me, 35F, and my spouse, 38M, are the parents of a 5-year-old neurodivergent kid. My husband refuses to educate himself on that topic. At the same time, he has recently admitted how much he hates my tendencies to micromanage everything. Okay, so I'm not really educated on a neurodivergent kid. I'm going to look it up real quick. Neurodivergent children have brains that function, learn, and process information differently than what is considered typical, encompassing conditions like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and sensory processing issues. It is a natural variation in human neurology, not a diagnosis. often highlighting unique strengths in creativity and problem solving alongside developmental challenges. Okay, so the fact that your husband can't even or would not even want to Google what a neurodivergent kid is kind of crazy to me. I feel like once you have conceived a child, or once like a couple has conceived a child or decided to have kids, I think both parties or both parents are definitely responsible for helping take care of the kid no matter what um type of diagnosis they get as a child, you know? So the fact that he says that you're micromanaging everything, I think there's a reason to that. And I feel like micromanaging isn't a bad thing, especially when your kid is neurodivergent and 5 years old. Okay, I can understand that. Though I'm not the only one constantly assessing and anticipating our daughter's mental state in order to be able to regulate her nervous systems and prevent avoidable meltdowns. Okay, so the fact that your husband isn't really helping as much um with in terms of like assisting with your daughter's mental state um says a lot to me. I feel like you guys should definitely sit down and talk more about this unless you have already and he just doesn't want to help, which is definitely an issue. Yet, in order to save our relationship, I am learning to keep my mouth shut, which is a constant problem. You should not keep your mouth shut. If you have to talk to your partner constantly to remind him, like to help you out, I don't think that's a bad thing unless he takes it the wrong way. Then I think it's something to seek help with as like a therapist or a couples therapist. Today, our daughter returned home really overstimulated. I let her draw and played some calm music to let her unwind. Later, my husband decided to play a video game, but our daughter wanted his attention, therefore, he chose to show her the game. The game, which has lots of visual and flashing effects. And as always, he turned the volume up. They were doing so for approximately an hour while I was tidying our daughter's room. When he decided to quit the game, our 5-year-old started being really dysregulated and difficult, having a hard time, so he could not get her to bath. That's when he came over to me to take over, and I decided to say no. Am I the a-hole for keeping him responsible for his choices? Is it malicious to let him deal with the consequences when he perceives my recommendations as nagging? This is hard for me because I can't really relate. But you're not the a-hole from keeping him responsible for his choices. I feel like your daughter ended up being a little more overstimulated after watching her dad play the video game and with loud volume. I don't think that's very helpful with neurodivergent children. Is it malicious to let him deal with the consequences? I don't think it's malicious. But you're basically indirectly telling him, I told you so, which also doesn't help in hindsight. I think it's just gonna make him a little more bitter about it. But I think there's a lot more to unpack here, and I think at least getting a few sessions with couples counseling will definitely help, or maybe even a child's counseling to see how you guys both can work together to make your daughter's life more comfortable and not just more overstimulated, if that makes sense. Yeah, I can't really comment on this because I feel like it's not something I can relate to. Well, I don't relate to. But yeah, I think that's it for this one. Okay, so on to the last Reddit post. Am I the a-hole for agreeing to plans with friends on days when I can see my girlfriend? My girlfriend and I only see each other Sunday night through Tuesday because we live a few hours apart. Once she's here, I see her every day, but sometimes I spend part of the day with friends first, since I work full-time and don't get many chances to see them otherwise. She's usually free waiting for me, so she gets upset when we only end up a few hours together instead of the whole day. Some weeks I fully prioritize her. Other weeks, I split time between her and my friends, and they end up getting most of my day. Okay, well, can you maybe bring her with your hangout time with your friends? Like, has she met any of your friends before? It just seems like you're separating her and your friends. And it's like, well, if you want to spend time with her and your friends, I feel like sometimes adding her to that time with your friends wouldn't be a bad idea, no? Um, but anyways, I want a balance where we both have our own lives, but I'm not sure if I'm wrong for making plans with friends during the only days I can see her, especially since those are also the only days I can really see them. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to spend time with your friends, but also time with your girlfriend split up. As I said, I feel like one solution could be that you bring her to your hangouts with your friends. Um, I think it'd be a good chance for them to meet her, unless it's like a guy thing. Now, if you want to have time with just your friends and you don't think you have enough time for your girlfriend that weekend, well, then I think you should just tell her not to come down on the weekends you want to hang out with your friends because, like, as you said, she's just waiting for you. She's usually free waiting for me. Like, she's just what, sitting at your apartment or at your house waiting for you until you come back home late at night or whenever you do come home. I feel like maybe she could have done something more productive that time and just stayed wherever she is instead of being there and kind of like waiting for you. That's just me on my opinion with the side of being the girlfriend. Those are your two options, really. Bring her with you when you hang out with your friends, or just tell her the weekend you're gonna hang out with your friends and then just tell her not to come over. Because if she's gonna complain about, saying we only ended up with a few hours together, then I feel like to her, she wanted your undivided attention the entire time she was there. I think that's my take on it. I don't think you're the a-hole, but I think you can definitely work on something with your girlfriend that can make this work. But yeah, I think that's it for now. Thank you for watching the video. Comment down below and let me know what you guys think. And give me any suggestions if you'd like me to react to some Reddit posts. And don't forget to follow on my other accounts down below. Okay, bye!